This is Long Way to the Top, and I'm your host, Shane Bryan. In the words of the immortal AC/DC, it is harder than it looks. These interviews will give you a glimpse into the lives of the artists that we've sung along with, danced and rocked out to. Some go deep into their past and others celebrate their recent releases. But all of them show that regardless of who you are, it's always a long way to the top. Our next guest on the show was the co-founder of the Hollies, described as the glue that held Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young together, OBE, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, and published photographer. We'll get into that. My guest on the show today, Graham Nash. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shane. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. And look, I've got to say, like, if I may say, this is a moment that I would have to consider an absolute honor. To me, it's like interviewing someone like Dylan or Brian Wilson, because your contribution to music has been so great. I don't even know where to begin.
Well, let's just begin somewhere.
Now, you were originally the founding member of the Hollies with your friend Alan Clark. It was one of the biggest UK groups of all time. Tell us about that, how that all started. How long have I got?
It basically started with me and Alan Clark singing together. And we were at a show in Manchester one day, and a guy comes up to us and he says, "You two guys are really good, but you need barking." I said, "What?"
What?
He said, "You need barking." I said, "What's barking?" He goes, No, Pete Barking. You need him. He's a great guitar player, plays every solo for every Gene Vincent record, everything. This guy is unbelievable. You need Barking." So we got Pete Barking, and he could in fact play every solo that we ever wanted, every Buddy Holly solo. And that we became the Four Tones. Yeah. Even though there were five of us, and please don't ask me to explain that. And then in December of 1962, Alan and I formed the Hollies.
Yeah. And I mean, it was the time, that was prior actually to the Beatles. It was the time when I guess everybody had a band with the at the start. It was, the Hollies, the Stones, the Beatles. It was a real heyday in music, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And then, my time with the Hollies came to an end, and I knew it. And at that same time, well, I'll be honest with you, I had arranged to join Joni Mitchell in Los Angeles for 4 days. And I came from London, and I got in a cab at the airport, and I went to where Joni lives, and I heard other voices in there, which I wasn't crazy about that, but it was David and Stephen. Yeah. And they were having dinner with Joni. Oh, and after dinner, David said to Stephen, "Hey, play Willie that song." So here's what's going on. The Buffalo Springfield had broken up. David had been thrown out of the Byrds. And they were trying to get an Everly Brother thing together, a duo kind of thing, And they played this song called "You Don't Have to Cry," which was on the first Crosby, Stills and Nash record. Came to the end of it. I said, "Stephen, what a great song that is. That's fabulous. Do me a favor, sing it again." Wow. They looked at each other, they shrugged, and they sang it again. And they got to the end of the second time, and I said, "Yep. Okay. All right. I know what I'm going to do. Do me a favor, sing it one last time." 45 seconds into the song, we had to stop and laugh. You got to understand, the Springfield and the Byrds and the Hollies were pretty good harmony bands. Yeah, we know that. We had never heard this sound that we created when David and Stephen and I put our voices together as one voice. Yeah. And once I'd heard that, I knew I had to go back to England and leave the Hollies and leave my equipment and my money and go and bring my guitar and chase that sound.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And that's one of the reasons why you and I are speaking right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an absolute legacy that was created. And of course, bringing up Joni Mitchell, you wrote that song with her. I think it was Our House, and that was all about living in Laurel Canyon. I mean, that was there's been a lot discussed about Laurel Canyon, during the 60s and the 70s, and it was a hub of music that really has still impacted music today.
Oh, yes. A lot of those people are still rocking today. David David passed, of course, which
Yes.
I was incredibly sad about. But Stephen and Neil and Jackson Brown and some of the Eagles and David Blue and a lot of people were in Laurel Canyon at that time. It was a wonderful time. It really was.
Mm.
Full of music, full of sunshine, full of beautiful women, mainly full of incredible music. I mean, we would pick up a guitar and go to a friend's house and say, "Hey, listen to this," and we'd play him the suite. We
Yeah.
play him Sweet Judy Blue Eyes with Stephen on guitar and the three voices. Would kill them.
Yeah.
It was incredibly special, and we knew it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess when you've got the four talents like that together, it's only natural that you're going to have not just the harmonies, but incredible songs that still last the test of time. Teach Your Children, Marrakesh Express. I mean, these are songs that we grew up with.
I know, I did too.
Yeah.
It was funny though, I mean, I'm sure that I'm really pleased that my songs are liked by people, and I know that they will last much longer than this physical body will last.
And those two songs in particular, they were your songs that were rejected by the Hollies.
Yeah.
Did they not see like the
Somewhere,
brilliance in those songs?
somewhere in the bowels of the tape vault at EMI down in Abbey Road is a track of a track only, no vocals, of the Hollies doing Marrakesh Express.
Wow.
No, no,
Not as good.
no, not as good at all. You see, for Marrakesh Express, I wanted the energy of a train running through it.
Yeah.
I wanted the energy, but there was no energy in the Hollies version. Now then, when Stephen put his down, 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 and he did those beautiful electric guitar overdubs, he turned it into a hit record, which he's saying, and even Garcia playing on Teach Your Children turned it into a hit record.
Yeah. Did the dynamics change when Neil
When
came?
Neil came into the picture, yeah, because 4-part harmony is more difficult than 3-part harmony.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we worked it out. I knew that once we had made that first record with the three of us, we knew it was going to be a hit because we'd been in bands that had hits, and we kind of had a feeling that this first album would be a hit.
Yeah.
But what happened is this: Stephen played a lot of the instruments on that first record. Yeah, me and David played our rhythm guitar on Guinevere and Long Time Gone and Lady of the Island and Marrakesh. But Stephen played a lot of the instruments. He played lead guitar, he played rhythm guitar, he played bass guitar, he played B3 organ, he played piano, he played percussion, he played bass. And we realized that if we put it out and it's going to be a hit, we have to go on the road.
Yeah.
How do you go on the road when one guy played a lot of the instruments?
Yeah.
We had to find somebody else. And it was Ahmet Erdogan, who was our dear friend and was the CEO of Atlantic Records. Over dinner one night in New York with David and Stephen, he said, "I know who you should get." And Stephen said, "Okay, Ahmet, who should we get?" He said, "Neil." Stephen said, "Wait a second. I just went through 2 years of madness with this guy. He's in the band. He's out of the band. We're doing the Ed Sullivan Show. We're not doing the Ed Sullivan Show. Are you crazy? You got to get Neil, man." And he was right. Mm-hmm. It was a different band. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young is a completely different band than Crosby, Stills and Nash.
Yeah. Yeah. Better or just different?
Just different,
Mm.
just different. But once again, as you said, we had the songs.
Yeah. 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 That
And
makes
we were pretty decent musicians and pretty decent singers and pretty decent writers.
mm.
And all four of us came together and made some beautiful music.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you were breaking around the time of, I mean, of course, things like Woodstock and the flower power generation, but there was something that was happening,
Mhm.
to quote, for what it's worth. There's something that was happening, and that was the Vietnam War. And
Indeed.
you guys were very big advocates for change, and uh, whether or not it was intentional
Well,
became,
we knew that the Gulf of Tonkin, which was the excuse as to why we got into the Vietnam War in the first place, we knew that it was a lie. We knew that Johnson lied about it. We knew. We just felt it, And obviously, we thought that the war was the worst thing that could have ever happened to America at the time, and we were right, and we were very much against it. Of course, yes, and particularly when four students at Kent State in Ohio, used their God-given right to protest what the government was doing in their name, which in this particular case was the secret bombing of Cambodia. Neil wrote Ohio. I
yeah,
mean, what a beautiful protest song that is.
yes, yes. And do you feel that as musicians that you have a responsibility for your music to be a voice?
We have a responsibility to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And I often quote Nina Simone when she said that every artist, every musical artist, in fact, every artist needs to represent the time in which they live.
Yeah.
And that's what we were doing. We knew that, when we would go on the road to CSNY, we knew particularly in the after, against the war in Iraq, we knew that people would walk out on us. We knew that there was a certain percentage of people that didn't believe what we stood for. Now, then I say to them, what do you expect if you buy a ticket to a Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young show?
Yeah.
What do you expect? You've got to expect us to speak out about what's going on in our life at this time. And we did. And people did walk out. Only about 10%, but they did. Particularly in Austin, Texas, which was amazing to me.
Well, kind of. I mean, that's the heart of the military belt right there, in Austin, Texas, isn't it? And a lot of very patriotic. But patriotism really was not what it was all about.
No.
Either of the wars, really.
No. It's all about people making incredible amounts of money on military equipment, like bullets and bombs and rockets and all kinds of stuff. We know what's going on here. And, we haven't learned much from history. I wrote Military Madness many years ago about my father going off to World War II. And people say, your music's going to last forever. But you know what? We just haven't learned from history.
No.
We just haven't learned, and we have no intention of learning from history. It's like what's going on over in America right now. We have a lot of people coming into the country through the border at the south. And the Republicans wanted certain things from the Democrats before they would pass a bill, and so the Democrats gave them what they wanted, and Trump called the Republicans and killed their own bill.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
He also, I think that Trump also wants Putin to win in Ukraine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy times.
It is crazy times. And, talking about not really learning. I mean, and moving away from the war aspect. I mean, there's other things, environmental issues that you guys stood for that we still haven't learned.
That's right.
We
knew about climate change in the 60s. We knew what was happening. We knew the oil companies were lying to us. We knew. And of course, we've always tried to tell the truth.
Yeah.
you know, and a lot of people, we don't have any answers, but we sure do have a lot of questions.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We do.
All right.
Now, I want to switch gears. I want to talk about your photography career, which you are an avid photographer and also an advocate for digital art as well. Yeah.
I've been a photographer longer than I've been a musician.
Yeah, right. Right.
A portrait of my mother in my book, A Life in Focus, which came out about 6 months ago, I took when I was 11.
Fair dinkum, right. Wow.
Really.
Wow.
So I love photography. Yeah, I'm working on a new book.
It
I
must
take
have been
pictures all the time.
it must have been amazing then going through that 60s era and the festivals and the photos that you would have got with people just expressing themselves in such unique
Mhm.
ways.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
a lucky man.
you are a lucky man. Yes. Now
Yeah.
let's talk about digital art. I mean, you funded a fine art digital company back in
Sure,
the
I still
90s.
do it. I still have it.
Yeah,
And
right.
we are still the best in the world at making digital prints.
Yeah. Yeah. So how
I
do you
started
feel
in
about
89 in 1989.
1989 with the Mac computer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I like to be at the front end and the back end. Personally, I collect daguerreotypes, which were the world's first photographs that were ever made.
Wow.
And yet, I love the digital world. I love being able to be, in a lit room working on images, instead of in that dark room all the time. And yeah, I love digital. Yeah.
And how do you feel then about, or you're talking about being at the front end of things? How do you feel about AI and digital art?
I think we ought to be very careful. I
Mm.
think it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to make humanity a little better. But we need to be very careful that we're not creating something that will get smarter than us, faster than us, and do away with us, perhaps. We have to be very careful.
Yeah,
Obviously, we can't put the toothpaste back into the tube. It's out there. It's going to get bigger and better and faster by the second.
yeah,
You ought to be very careful about it.
yeah, yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you there. Don't think there's anything we can do. We have to embrace it and use it, and make sure that we don't let it get, like you said, smarter than us. So, now, what inspires you? Talking about like your music and your art. I mean, what inspires you both musically and artistically?
Curiosity.
Mm.
I'm very curious about everything. I've been that way all my life. As a matter of fact, when I was promoting my book in Manchester, this kid came up to me and he gave me an 8 by 10 brown envelope and he said, "You need this."
Yeah.
I said, "What do you mean I need it?" And then yeah. So he said, "Do me a favor, don't open it until you get back to the hotel." So I go back to the hotel and I open this thing and it's my report card from when I was like 11. And one of the first things that the teacher ever said about me was, "This kid needs to know everything." I've been curious every day since.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
And I think that really inspires me. It really does. Curious to find out why is that guy standing like that over there? Oh, there's an alligator right there with him. Oh, I see. Yeah.
I like that. Now, I want to touch back on David Crosby, passed away. Obviously, you spent a lot of time with David Crosby as a duo. Um, when he passed, you said David was fearless in life and in music. He leaves behind a tremendous void as far as sheer personality and talent in this world. He spoke his mind, his heart, and his passion through his beautiful music and leaves an incredible legacy. These are the things that matter the most. Is
Yeah. And it's
what
what
music is?
sorry.
Is that what music is all about?
Yeah, it's about communication. It's about sharing ideas. It's about being together. Music is magic. I still maintain today that it's magical. I mean, there's only 12 notes in the Western scale of music. 12 notes.
Yeah.
Look how many beautiful songs have been written with 12 notes.
Yeah.
Astounding.
It is astounding. It is
It's
astounding.
magic.
Yeah. And it's like you said about speaking your mind and having heart and
Mhm.
passion in everything that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another interview in about
Yeah.
3 minutes.
That's fine. One last question. What are you listening to right now? I love asking this of interviews. Is there anything that you're listening to that's inspiring you?
Um, I've been listening to a lot of our music lately. We have incredible amount of music that no one's ever heard. And I'm working on a piece with my friend Joel Bernstein, who is an incredible archivist. Uh, and we have 44 things that no one's ever heard before,
Wow.
and they thrill us to death. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Well, I'm certainly excited to hear that when you finally decide to release it.
You got it. Thank you, Shane.
Graham Nash, thank you for joining me on the show. Cheers.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Long Way to the Top. Hit plus or follow to subscribe to the podcast and head over to Facebook at the Long Way to the Top podcast and give us a like. Keep on rocking and I'll catch you on the next episode of Long Way to the Top.